White shirts on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London, stand strong, in the stands they belong. Voices echo like thunder, to the club they sing along. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. King's fire in his eyes, glory's what he seeks. With every goal he flies, rising to new peaks. From the lake to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. The pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. With all our might. With all our might.
Hello and welcome to THFC Till I Die. I don't know why I do that. Look like the Pope praising his pilgrims from the Vatican. Oh, yeah, he's not too well at the moment. I shouldn't be doing it if I was the Pope. But anyway, we move on very swiftly from the Pope talk. Welcome to THFC Till I Die. Home of Tottenham past, present, and exciting future under some manager, either Ange, anybody else who wants the job is up for vacancy. We'll take anyone. We'll even take Mr. Blobby. Of course, tonight we're going to talk about Tottenham's game last night. We're going to talk about a little bit about the takeover, a bit of breaking news about Man City, a little bit of breaking news about Sonny, and also we're going to talk about Kev's thoughts on Miss World being in Ireland this year and how Miss Mayo will win it because she's the best looking county girl at the whole of county of Ireland. But enough of that later. And how he's going to bribe it that Miss Cork will win. But enough about that later anyway. But Kev, how are you, sir? Look at you in your little Manchester United hobaway, sitting in there with all them famous names behind you. Cantona, Hughes, Brian Robson, Brian McClare. Names go on, run off the top of the lips. Even Alex Ferguson's son's probably up there somewhere. I don't know how the hell he ever won a league championship. I do not know. But how are you this evening, sir?
Yeah, sure. It's a soft day here in the Republic of Ireland, as you know, and there was no spatterings of rain there today. So it's always a good day when you don't get any ishk outside, apart from maybe the old refreshing shower. But I'm good, Dermot. Walked away there high off the back of victory yesterday, as you know, even though I don't think we deserved this.
Here we go. You get a win and you think you've won the league. You get a win and that's it. You're gone. You've won the league. That's it. Europe, here we come. All the usual shenanigans coming out of Old Trafford. Just fix your stadium.
Yeah, when we get on to the later topics, there's a lot of comparatives that I'm going to be drawn to what we've seen unfold at Old Trafford to what could be seen as possibilities at Tottenham. But it seems the drama, Dermot, that surrounds 115 Charge FC doesn't seem to want to go away, does it?
No, it doesn't. There's been a lot of talk about it today. Well, look, let's welcome a few people in the chat first. We'll bring up the breaking news we've got in Man City, because Man City are in hot water again. But this goes back to 2020, I think, this up. But we'll welcome a few people in the chat. We have big up to Neil Shafton. It says big up Neil, says tequila. My email is what I do, I'll copy and paste that and pass that on, Neil. Just be very careful using your email live on YouTube. There's a lot of nice people. There's a few idiots around. May use it for other things, but I will make sure Tequila gets that. Big up to Peter as well. Peter become a new YouTube member, has become a bronze membership. Big up, Peter. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. We've got Mr. Wayne Bonner, always in every show. He's here. Rain, snow, sunlight, thunderstorm, win, lose, or draw. He's always here. He says, good evening, one and all. Hope you're all feeling funky and groovy. It was. Kevin walked in like Saturday Night Fever coming in the back room. He really was. He was really strutting his stuff. And looking forward to a stress-free weekend. Oh, yeah, it will be stress-free. It won't be stress-free for Kevin and Colin, but it'll be stress-free for us. Yeah. I'll also be stress-free for Pep. I'm worried about Pep, by the way. I'm still convinced somebody whacked him round the side of the head, or he's doing it himself. Because he did have a massive... It was. It really was. Big up to Peter. So it's a high on 7:05 in the morning in Melbourne. Big up, Peter. Nice and warm there. Big up to Neil as well. Says, I've been dealing with what you've just been told for years with my wife. So I understand both sides of the disease and its pathology from a layman's understanding and a medical understanding. Well, I'm sure Tequila will really appreciate that, Neil. And we will get that messages to him first. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's crack on with it. Let's start with the news you're bringing up. So do you want to bring it up and explain to people, Kev, what it's about and what implications this could be with the 115 charges going down the road?
Absolutely, yeah. Oops, I'm after minimizing my screen by accident, so bear with me 2 seconds.
I think I can bring it up, can I? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can bring it up there. There we go.
Sorry, there. No, I'm completely after losing my screen, so apologies. Give me 2 seconds. I just need to find where my tab has gone.
Have you got it?
Entertain yourself there for a second, Dermo,
Right.
What
it is, Man City have responded as they file legal complaint against Premier League champions. Now, this is going back to 2020. This only broke today now. Now, this is more problems for Man City. It's down to more of the charges, as far as I know. But looking at it from a point of view, oh, there you got it there now. So you can say, so what is it about the charges? Is it more? What's it about? What is it all about? This La Liga really taking complaint against Man City? So
essentially, what they've been accused of is an Enron-style financial deception by La Liga president Javier Tebas. Tebas said the Spanish league filed a complaint against City to the European Commission in the summer of 2023, which says the Commission is investigating City, have not commented on these allegations, and club sources are aware and strongly refute them. He claims that City used related companies in the UAE to hide losses and thus improve the club's own balance sheet, and compared it to the Enron scandal. Now, for those of you that don't remember the Enron scandal, it was a series of events that resulted in the bankruptcy of the US energy, commodity, and service companies Enron Corporation back in 2001, and the dissolution of the LLP that was the holding company for it, which was one of the largest auditing and accounting companies in the world. The collapse of Enron, which held more than 60 billion in assets, involved one of the biggest bankruptcy filings in the history of the United States. So what he's accusing Manchester City of is pretty gargantuan if he's using Enron as the benchmark to anchor it against. And he's not wrong in that when you think about Manchester City and the so-called generational sponsorship that they got over the last number of years, when you look that they were getting more on their balance sheet than Manchester United, despite their other problems, Liverpool Football Club, and some of the big household names in England, like, no disrespect to City, they're a Johnny-come-lately club in terms of outside of Manchester, because they didn't have the global reach of a Tottenham, a Chelsea, a United, and a Liverpool, or even an Arsenal. but yet they were bringing in funds. And what it all boils down to was that they were using, allegedly, associated companies within the family network. So, say, for argument's sake, there's Kevin and Dermot Limited that run a Tiddlywinks factory out in UAE that is related to Cullum, who was the owner of Doncaster Rovers.
Yeah.
And as part of an agreement to move a bit of money around, we throw in £1 billion over a period of time into Doncaster Rovers. But the transaction in reality is not at arm's length, and we're somehow connected with the actual ownership of that football club. But Ultra Viris is essentially what we're looking at here. And now, those in glass houses probably shouldn't throw stones, because Real Madrid are very much protected by the Spanish royal family. So I find that a bit ironic.
Is it for you? Is it La Liga just being jealous of the Premier League? You look at La Liga, you look at the French league, you look at the Italian league, you look at all the other leagues in Europe, and you look at the Premier League, which is the most successful league in the world, the biggest league in the world, most successful league in the world, the most money-driven league in the world. And you look at the other leagues that were big back in the day. Is it just jealousy? Because, and then there had something to this, Kev. Is this where the Super League starts roaring its ugly head again? That it starts poking up like, oh, we can have relegation and promotion now. We bring this in now. Is it another way of shoehorning it in? And does UEFA and FIFA have to be on guard now to protect the football, the game we love? Or is the game we love just, it's gone years ago? Because we have got questions about, we are going to touch on the takeover. And has football gone from where it used to be when we were kids growing up to what it is now? It's not the same game, is it? It's not the same business either.
Absolutely not, Dermot. You hit the nail on the head. I'll touch briefly on the Premier League and the jealousy of La Liga shortly, but you mentioned the Super League, and I feel that it's already here. The change in the way European competition is now done is Super League by another name for me, to be honest with you, Dermot, because they're trying to figure out ways where they can ensure Manchester United and Tottenham, even though they might be way down the pecking order, can find avenues into Champions League at this stage, because they want the big teams in there. Like, if Juve, for argument's sake, finished 10th, I'm sure they'd love to find a way to get Juventus into that Champions League draw by the back door. But the whole reason why this all started initially was the financial power of the Premier League was absolutely eating a lot of the big clubs in Europe alive. Like, you were looking at a situation a couple of seasons ago where a team in 17th or 18th had higher spending power than Atletico Madrid, a Barcelona. Now, Barcelona have their own financial crap going on, and that's a longer story for another day. But there was envious eyes being cast on it. And to be honest with you, the Premier League has done nothing wrong. We had this discussion way back when FTSN was kind of the premier sports channel in the family. And we sat down and we dissected as to why it became such an unruly beast. But it's because they put time and management into the way that they structured the Premier League, the way they promoted the Premier League. And it basically grew attention from Americans, from Australians, from all over the world. And that, as a result of which, that meant they were able to sell TV rights, which resulted in more money going into the league. Then bigger companies said, oh, we like the look of that. And then they came on board and they provided sponsorship, which meant more money into the league. And they just built a very successful model. Now, where things went to crapper for me is around the television deals. And we might do that another time down the road.
I'll tell you very quickly on that. The television deals that are up next year, I think they're going to be sold for around about €1 billion. €1 billion. I think that's what they're going to that's what the Premier League, they're going to pay the Premier League $1 billion for the rights. We'll get onto it. There's a show probably over the weekend. We might do that, actually. We might really do a show on that because it's really interesting. But can you imagine a billion? Well, years ago, you and me, you would be lucky to get a game on the television 40 years ago in the 80s or 90s, FA Cup final or international. Here in Ireland, we never got a game. We very rarely, apart from an Ireland international, that was it. But a billion? Is it really worth the billion? I don't think it is, but who am I?
I'm going to draw another comparison. The WWE recently did a resale of its broadcasting rights.
Yeah.
Now, as we all know, this is a sport entertainment product that is probably beloved by teens across the globe. And Netflix got on board and said, outside of the US of A, we want to be the people that are carrying it into every single living room across the world. And they paid quite a substantive amount of money. And the rumor is that these streaming companies, the Netflixes, your Amazons, your Disneys, they're not done with the sports networks. They want to get a hold of NFL. They want to get a hold of Premier League football. They want to get a hold of probably rugby at some point down the line.
Formula One.
Exactly. Formula One. I think the age of a Sky as it is probably dead. I think
it is.
What you need to see, what you'll see Sky slowly doing is they'll evolve into a streaming service. We're already seeing that they're trying to get away from the boxes. And you will have a la carte menus for if you want to subscribe to Tottenham Hotspur related content, you'll probably be able to subscribe specifically to Tottenham only games. And then you might want to watch United Liverpool for argument's sake. And you might be able to buy that then as an add-on on a one-off basis.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, you look at now Discovery Plus. They've taken Eurosport went off the air today for the first. I mean, Eurosport. They've been around since I was a kid. Eurosport. They've gone off the air today completely. So now TNT have taken that over. Discovery Plus have taken over now the likes of the endurance racing championship, 24 Hours of Le Mans. I know that will be on Discovery Plus. TNT has shown all the Olympics and Winter Olympics and everything like that. But yeah, I do agree with you. It will turn into that day. It will turn into a time where you just pay for what you want to watch. And it's a sad indictment that we've gone down this road. You look at Sky already are doing Sky Plus, where you pay an extra €30 and you can watch all the games on Saturday. You can watch every Doncaster game, say, at home and away on the Saturday. And another thing as well, I don't know if people know, but over here, I know in England it's called Parliament. Over here, we got the Dáil, which is the Irish Parliament. Doncaster Rovers Football Club was mentioned in our Dáil yesterday and today. Now, and not because they're all Doncaster Rovers fans, for a little bit of dodgy dealing, as you know, Mr. O'Leary, Larry, as you know, Colin, as you know, Kev, a very distinguished TD, who's causing nothing but hassle at the moment. But yeah, so I thought Colin might like to know his team was mentioned in the Dáil today.
There you are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to purchase Doncaster Rovers. Now, I don't know if Colin knew this, but there you go, Colin. Yeah, so that's something we will get into as well, ownerships. Last night, football, great result for you lot, 3-2 win. Not the greatest of wins, but you got to win. We watched our game. I think going to sleep would be, if you wanted to go into a coma for 45 minutes, that was the game to do it. We said after 10 minutes, Ange's tactics weren't working. And how long before he changed it? Was it the 70th minute, 68th minute?
It was deep into the mid-60s at the very earliest.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely nuts.
So when you see stats like this of the game, this is the stats of the match last night, guys. Look and this is why I say stats can lie to you, and they do lie to you. If somebody was to look at that stats, they would have thought, Jesus, what a game that was. That was a barnstorming game. That was a great game. Do you know, big highlight for the Premier League. Them stats really don't tell the full picture, do they? Of Tottenham Man City last night. Before we get into that, I want our team ratings. So I want you to go through. That was the starting 11. So Kev, give your ratings last night for the team. I'm going to be brutal with mine, but you be. And then we've got a few comments to get to as well. Neil's put in some very good points as well. So play ratings, man. Give your ratings of the team last night.
Perfect stuff. I just want to draw the attention to the scoreline. Currently, West Ham 1, Leicester 0. Thomas Souček with the goal. But we don't say that we don't keep you up to date on what's going on in the Premier League. So let's start with Vicario.
One thing, this is the channel of breaking news, correct breaking news, and we'll keep you up to date with all the football as well.
So I'll just get that out of the way for a second. So Vicario, in the first half, he was basically Gandalf, thou shalt not pass, apart from that one goal. So I think he's worthy of a 7 for his performance. And the only reason it's not higher is because obviously they did concede a goal. So Pedro Porro, Damari, Gray, Danzo, and Doggy. I'm going to take these together. As I said last night, I'm not going to give a rating to Gray because he's playing out of position. So it's unfair than that to kind of rate him playing out of position. Danzo was a 1 in the first half, but in the second half, he brought his performance right up, and I started to see why you were so impressed with the man. So I'm going to give him a 5, bang straight in the middle. Which, considering he started at such a low bar after his first half performance, I think is fair. Pedro Porro and Doggy, didn't see enough of them in an attacking sense, didn't see them doing enough contributing to the link play and trying to make that front three in the first half work. In the second half, we did see a bit more of Porro, and he's clearly the more talented of the two wing backs. I'm going to have to be honest with you, O'Doherty gets a 3. I don't think he was good. Pedro Porro, I'm going to give him the same treatment as Danzo, 5. I think his performance in the second half probably was worthy of upping his score. Bentancur, aka the Tottenham Roy Keane, I'm going to give him the same as Vicario, 7. He was the leader on the pitch, even though he didn't wear the captain's armband. Even after Madison left the field because Son came on at that point, who is your club captain. Definitely the head and shoulders the best player out on the field. When I say excluding your goalkeeper. Bergville didn't do anything wrong for me, but it was a tough game for him, I suppose, because, again, your front three was not performing. I give him a 5 because I don't think he did anything terrible, and I don't think he did anything spectacular. Madison, he just didn't really grab a hold of the attacking play for you. Didn't provide the links to Johnson, Tell, and Odebert. Didn't get cut out with anything really either. So I suppose, again, you're talking middle of the road, 4 or 5. Tell, I'm going to preface it by saying he is new to the league. He's a young man, and he's basically getting no cover from a senior striker to take the heat off him. And he's been basically asked to pick up that Tottenham shirt and lead the line for you, a bit like what we did with Rasmus Højlund. I'm going to give him a 4, but again, I don't think it's reflective on him. It's more reflective on where you are as a team at the moment. And then finally, Johnson and Odbert. Odbert actually did a bit better in the second half. Johnson, we did kind of highlight that he's a boom and bust player. I think they're both 4 5s. Nothing spectacular. But as an attack and as a unit, the selection of it was a 0 from Ange.
I agree with you. Listen, I've just got to pop off for 2 seconds. Mrs. Tron, I need to go and give her something. So if I take them off and leave you with some of this comment here from Neil, and then maybe you can go through the rest. And if you can bring them up, brilliant. If you can't, just go through the rest of the comments from Neil down. If you can, brilliant. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
So everybody get your ratings in on the chat while you're waiting for Dermot to return. So needless to say, it's up to the broadcaster to give lesser teams more exposure, not just games versus bigger teams. The bigger teams sell their own games to their fans. And a lot of that is probably the 3 o'clock window. I think, Neil, I don't know how much you think that contributes towards the blocking off of games. And I suppose when they're limited in the games that they can put on board, they're probably kind of more inclined to say, no, we don't want to show the smaller teams against the smaller teams. So maybe a change from traditional broadcasting and going into the streaming type service might benefit those smaller teams. And if you see the end of the 3 o'clock embargo, maybe that will also improve the chances of exposure. But do you feel that maybe if the more of those smaller teams against each other is on your TV channel, will it affect those that travel to the games? Let me know what you think on that. It's also from Neil. It's clear Ange's focus is on cup competitions regardless of time off. He said he was going to play some of the guys that need to get their legs back and rest the guys who could use a few extra minutes. He definitely rested Kula and Son yesterday, but the game was against Man City, and you have to question the logic of doing it against the Man City. I'd say fair enough if it's against a West Ham or a Bournemouth or one of those clubs, but when you're playing one of the biggest teams in England, you got to question the logic of doing that rotation in that particular game. Let me know what you think on that. Neil also saying that goal had nothing to do with Vicario. It was deflected to Haaland by Johnson. No way he could react. That is fair, but I suppose when you're looking at the performance of an individual player, I suppose his job is to make sure goals stay out of the back of the net. And even though he mightn't directly have been the cause of it being conceded, you can't really give him a perfect score, though, can you? But I do take your point. I still think 7, maybe 8 is still reflective of the fact that he had probably the best, if not the second best performance outside of Bentancur for you up until all the changes were made. Boris is saying to me, Danzo has also been playing as a left centre-back, which is different from right centre-back. And I know I played both positions. I always hated playing left when you're a right centre-back minded player. So yeah, out of position. So again, I suppose that feeds into the patchwork defence that you have at the moment due to all those injuries, and whether or not Christian Romero returns might settle that down a bit for you, but I think Dermo will have news for you on that. Neil is saying, tell us a lot to learn from Solanke and his hold-up regarding his hold-up play and ball decision-making. Yeah, maybe Solanke might be a positive influence on him. We shall have to wait and see. But definitely is a lot to ask of a young striker to come in fresh to the league and basically be the focal point of your attack. So no shade on Tell whatsoever. David Clark is telling us Bergville totally failed to help his fullback when they were doubled up, and he gave the ball away far too many times. Also, you're being very fair to the man, and I suppose he was kind of in the average phase, wasn't he, really? Neil says it doesn't matter. The majority of fans want the cup. So obviously you're talking there on the fact that the game against Man City didn't predetermine what lineup should be utilised. And David Clark is saying, so Andrew rested 3 of our best players with 8 days until the next game, who finished 19th in the round robin in the Europa League. Have we sunk that low? So those are the comments that are now up to date. And also a big thank you to Peter, who is now a member of the channel.
Hello, I'm back.
I just have 2 more comments and then we can slow on.
Mm-hmm.
Argentina qualifier friendly coming up magically. Romero's fit. And I do know Dermot's busting at the gut talk about that. And Boris
that's a pre-record in itself.
Boris
that is a pre-record in itself, that.
They're ready for the Bournemouth match. So there you are, Dermot. I have all your comments up to date.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I do apologize. Right. I'm going to go quickly through my player ratings, and I'm going to be brutal. I'm going to be pretty harsh here. Vicario gets an 8 for me. If it wasn't for him, we would have been 4 or 5-0 down in the first half. Porro, for me, was woeful, apart from the last half hour in the second half. I thought he was woeful. So he gets a 3 for me. Archie Gray and Danso both get a 6 for me, a 7 for Danso, and the 6 for Archie Gray. Look, he's not a centre-back, but he's playing out of position, but he's doing well. So big up to Archie Gray. Your doggy for me, another poor performance, absolutely poor performance. Sorry about the banging. Bergville and Bentacle, you're so right about Bentacle. Bentacle was our Roy Keane last night. He was the man that was leading by example, putting the tackles in, putting in the possession, being there, leading by example. And Bergville as well is learning so much of Bergville, of Bentacle as well, how to lead by example, and he wasn't he, Kev? At one point, we were both said in the watch along that Bergville was running around like a man possessed, like he was tackling, he was harassing, he was in there like a little Irish terror at somebody's ankles, like biting at the ankles. Go on, give me. James Madison goes missing again. Captain, what captain? He couldn't captain a bunch of monkeys out of a circus looking for a bunch of grapes. That's how bad he is. Brendan Johnson, as much as I love Brendan Johnson, he was poor last night. So look, I give Bergville's 8, I give Bentacle an 8, I give James Madison a 5, I give Johnson a 5. Look, I'm going to give Tell a 6. You can't be harsh on the lad. He is new to the Premier League. He's only 19 years of age, so you've got to be careful without going too hard on him. And for me, Odegaard as well, I'll give him a 6 as well. He's only coming back of injury, and I think you've got to be careful with his confidence as well. So that is our player ratings. If you agree or disagree, put them in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. I just want to show you something here, guys, and I want your thoughts on this. Me and Kev discussed this last night at length. This is Haaland's goal. Now, as you can see, your doggy's just playing him onside. If his foot is a little bit further back, then that is an offside. But please tell me, what right has Haaland got to do to score a goal? He has no right to score there. But you're looking at that defensive back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who's to blame there, do you think, Kev? I would blame you, doggy, and I would blame probably Danso for poor position and either not seeing who's behind him.
Well, when you have a striker of the quality of Haaland, you're going to always have to be aware of where he is on the pitch. But, in fairness to Danzo, he probably should have gotten a shout from Udogie saying, look, listen, he's coming through between the two of us here. Make sure that you close the path of the ball from, that was Salvino, was it? I think that put it in. Or no, actually, it was Jeremy Dorgu. And the fact that the ball got threaded through basically 4 Tottenham defenders, that is unforgivable, I'll be honest with you. But I would say number 5, which is your wing back there, if he didn't give a shout, he's probably the most responsible here for Haaland getting a chance to stick the ball past Vicario, who, as Niall said there a while ago, isn't responsible for any part of that goal, personally speaking, other than, unfortunately, it went into his net. I think you're muted again, Dermo. You've no sound, Dermo.
God, it's this new mic. Sorry. Am I no sound at all?
You're grand now.
Can you not hear me? Good. Neil says you look at watch Johnson. He deflects the ball, otherwise it's behind Haaland. He's actually right in that, and I missed that. And he also said they're all guilty of ball. They all are ball watching. Archie Gray's ball watching. Porro, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what Bentacle doing. He could have put a block in. Danso could have put a block in. You give Haaland any space, any shape or form, he's going to punish you. You give him. He is in that sort of 6-yard area. He's lethal. So in my view, we got what we deserved, and it was just bad defending. It was a bad performance, a bad first half. We can all say the second half was great, but it wasn't great. And you, me said it time and time again. It needed changing. A lot of people today, did he rotate in the wrong game, do you think, Kev? Should he have rotated in Ipswich instead of Man City? And I think he should have, if he was going to rotate at all, rotate against the team that's at the bottom of the league that's struggling. Don't rotate against a champions Man City. You got 8 days to recover, for Christ's sake. I think last night was the match for me where I really felt Ange was clueless last night. And I hate saying it, but I think he was clueless last night.
I suppose it's easy for us to say what games are important and what are not. I did see amongst your commenters that a lot of them are feeling that everything has been put in the cups at this point. Now, the cups are basically the Europa League at this stage, isn't it? There's no other cup.
That's it. No.
So, like, if you've got a singular focus on a Europa League game that's 8 days' time, and you genuinely wanted to give Sonny a rest, surely it was the game before that where you possibly didn't need him on the pitch, that you rotate him out. No, Niall is saying maybe he wanted to make a point at beating the living crud out of Ipswich. But I think this one's for you though, Dermo. He's saying, what did Kula do when he came on?
He didn't do anything, and David's right. He said so many professional ex-pros and commenters said the exact opposite to what you said about Madison. What did Kulusevski do when he came on the field? According to the commentators, he didn't do anything. Madison didn't do... Can you please tell me what Madison did for the first 70 minutes of that game, David? He didn't do damn all. He didn't inspire me as captain. The man that inspired me, and inspired Kevin as well, was Bentancur. At least he was putting the foot. He would give a Roy Keane type performance. And David, you know, you would have watched a lot of Roy Keane. We know what Roy Keane's like for Ireland when he was captain for us. You know what he was like, Kev, for playing for Man United back in the day. He led by example. Madison does not lead by example. He couldn't lead, as I said, he couldn't lead a bunch of monkeys out looking for grapes on a Thursday afternoon. I thought he was poor last night. And this is a Man City team that's beatable. You know, this is not an all-conquering Man City team that's winning everywhere they're going. We should have beaten Madison. We should have beaten Man City last night. When the amount of chances we had in second half, we should have buried them. And it shows how inconsistent and how bad we are this season. It really does. I'll work on a few more people in before we carry on. We've got big up Neil. He says, I think he wanted to make... Yeah, I think he did. And I think, Kev, you made that point as well. Like, you made that point last night as well, Kev, to be fair. You said exactly the same thing last night in the watch along. Big up to the real N17 Yid Lewis. Big up Lewis. He says, Ange makes so many bad decisions on and off the field. He does. He does. And we were screaming from 10 minutes in, weren't we? Change it. Just change it. Does it? Look, you've had Ten Hag. You've had Alex Ferguson for so many years. Do you think Alex Ferguson would think about, oh, this is going to damage my reputation, make me look a bit silly? He would put the team first, wouldn't he? He would say, right, I've made a mistake. I've cocked up here. Right, it needs changing. Why won't Ange change it? Is he afraid of upsetting people? Because really, as fans, if we could see he made a mistake and he's changed it now, we improve and we score and we're going to win the game, he's a genius. But again, we're talking about his stubbornness, him not wanting to change. It can't go on like that.
You look at Sir Alex Ferguson. If you remember correctly, he took Park Ji-sung and he put him on a man-marking exercise against one of the best midfielders in the Premier League at the time, Mr. Stevie G. And
yeah, he did.
Mr. Stevie G did nada, zilch, nothing. Yeah. And he wasn't afraid to make those decisions. And if it didn't work, Park would have either been shunted back to his normal position or taken off within the first 15, 20 minutes. But Park has an engine like an absolute stallion, and he was able to go for the full nearly 90 minutes. But the managers that are capable of making those big game decisions, they're the ones that you want calling the shots. Like, not making the decision is not going to get you a win. But if you really start throwing the dart out there, you're kind of going, well, we're in a situation, we're 1-0 down. We might as well lose 2-0 as lose 1-0.
Yeah.
So why not make that dart? And I think it was even before the game started when we were looking at the lineups. We said, okay, he's rested the players, but if it's ineffective, he needs to change it and change it early. It was 67 minutes when the first sub came on, and that was a four-person sub.
Yeah. Can I just say that front line does not fill me with excitement? Johnson, Tell, and Odegaard. It doesn't put fear. Man City must have been looking at that front three thinking, lovely, lovely. Pep must be in the dressing room saying, right, lads, this is 3 points here. This team is beatable. This is Tottenham. Go out there. And we started like a house on fire. We were like, all of them were like running, had like headless chickens, like. But I don't know. I'm very angry.
Would you say it's fair to say that that front three is probably outshone by Elanga, Wooden, Hudson, Dye? Like if you were looking at that front three, you'd have said that's possibly a West Ham front three or one of so-called Leicester teams. Now, again, notwithstanding the fact that you rotated and you have injuries over the season, that doesn't, to me, seem like what it's one of the traditionally top 6 teams in the country.
Yeah. Carl says, Ange bollocks that up 100%. Who takes off form players off, for fuck's sake? So I'm going to swear now. Then come out and go, I can't say I have no team and then not play them when they're back. What they have. Totally true. Neil Shafton. He almost gave them a second goal with a stupid corner kick play. He did. David, I think David has it in for me later on in the chat there. He's given me a bit of a bollocking. I have to take my medicine and just take it and just nod and appreciation and move on. When Madison was put out with the stiffs, he tends to underperform. When, like away to Man City, he comes into his own. He is the best player at Spurs, but Spurs fans can say, David, you're the one that told me that he will let you down. You told us, you saw him at Leicester, you come out to start the season with Paul Madison, that he wasn't a great player. So I get it, but you did say something totally me at the start of the season. It's our own fault. It is our own fault. We played 65 minutes, not coming out of first gear. Then the last 25 minutes, thought, shit, we better play. We should have won. Dreadful finishing. Yeah, absolutely. Point. Neil said, it's a professional pride thing with Ange. If he deviates or hedges, he gives the appearance of being a poor tactical, not being able to get it right from the start. I think that's spot on, actually. I think that sums up Ange 100%. Now, here's David giving me a bollocking. Take it, Dermot. Take your medicine. Sorry, Dermot. You have totally the wrong mentality regarding the player's strengths. Our football isn't about rolling your sleeves up and everyone running around like maniacs and hod carriers and creators. It's how I see it. It's my opinion. I may have a different view to you, but it's my opinion, and I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to stand by it, and I'm going to stand over it. I want to see my team play with passion. You look at Bentancur last night. He rolled his sleeves up, he put his foot in, and he led by example. You know, that's the way I want our players. I want that bit of Roy Keane in them. I want that bit of I want that little bit of grit and determination. Would you agree with that, Kev, or do you agree with David that I've got the totally wrong? My mentality's totally wrong, absolutely wrong.
I think, you know, when you look at your team, you're always going to be the most critical. To quote Gene Hackman for a minute, may he rest in peace, when he was saying Lex Luthor. Most of us view our teams as having a strong streak of good in them, but then nobody's perfect. Almost nobody. Now, the reason I say that is, like, when Ange came into you first, myself and Colin were looking enviously at the way that he had his swagger, the bluster in front of the media. Everything about the man seemed like he was the Teflon TICTOC. Nothing would stick to him. And obviously our English viewers won't understand what that means, but essentially you've got a club that had an expectation as a result of the way that things started, that progress should have been made.
Yeah.
And you expect a further step. And all comparatives to the demise of Ten Hag, we never kicked on from that initial cup win, despite beating City in the last game of the English season last year. We never took that next step up the Styra. And at that stage, the game was lost. And what I saw of the Tottenham performance in the second half yesterday, oddly enough, I don't see anybody not wanting to play for the badge. And at least you don't have that problem. We have players at Manchester United on ridiculous wages and contracts that they don't deserve. And big up Tequila, how are you doing, sir?
Big up Tequila. I have to give my usual salute to Tequila. This is my usual salute to Tequila. He knows what it means. Big up Tequila.
Actually, what I think about it, you have a bit of housekeeping to do.
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. I do very much. And look, Tequila, I actually put it on my new studio last night that I wouldn't forget. So I keep forgetting it. There we are. We are sponsored by Private Internet Access. And before we carry on with the show, this is like a little mid-break for anyone watching. When these do go out, and we're going to put these out in the podcast world. This little break, we have our very famous actor, Colm O'Connor. He starred in many great films. He actually starred in a film called My Righty Lefty Foot, which was he got an Oscar for that. That was brilliant. He also starred in another film called Dilton Bollens, about a very famous Irish man of legend. Any other films did he star in? Did he, Kev? I can't remember. Was there one or two more?
Yeah.
Doncaster Blinders. He starred in that TV series as well.
Honey, I Stole the Marbles.
Yeah, he did. He was a big actor in that. He also starred in. I'm taking from Tequila's comment here. I'm trying to find it. Hang on, where is it? He also starred in the film called "I Run Away Like a Little Twitch."
Wasn't he the blackbird in the field as well?
He was, yeah, he was. He was also Wurzel Gummidge, I think, back in the day.
Oh yes. I can see the likeness.
Yeah. Here we go. We got Tequila said he also starred in I Can't Shoot for Shit. That was his biggest film. But before we get thrown off YouTube for saying stuff about Colm, please listen to him. He is a famous actor. He did do this for nothing. He did it for pink M&Ms. It was either Cillian O'Connor, or it was me. And we decided to go with the man that actually decided a bit of oomph about him. He is the ruler of Doncaster. And if somebody does get that, it's a reference to Gene Hackman in Superman 2. But here he is, VPN, on channel sponsor, Private Internet Access.
Let me talk to you. A little reference there. But I'm going to stop messing about. I'm going to talk to you about Private Internet Access, the best VPN in the land. Now, when you're online, you may not realize, but all of your data is there for the taking by anybody. With a VPN such as Private Internet Access, your data is safe and secure, streamlined, and nobody else can get hold of it. That's why I use one anyway. VPN's very easy to use. Private Internet Access, all you got to do is log on your phone, select where you want to be. So I want to be in America, and I click go, and there we are. You can also link up your devices to it from your phone, if that is easier for you. It's available on a lot of platforms as well, as you can see, and you can use it for a very, very big range of things. So that's even better as well. You can use it, like I said, on all your devices, smartphone, tablets, gaming consoles, and stick it on your modem, and it's unlimited devices. One equals all. It's available all across the world, and it works perfectly. What they do is they mask your IP address, so pesky 3 o'clock kickoffs aren't an issue anymore, and they're independently audited, so there's no logs 30 million customers, and 4.5-star Trustpilot rated excellent review. Private internet access. Get yours now.
See, that's why we paid the big bucks for the professional Hollywood stars to come and do this for us. Yeah, it is €45 for 2 years. And you also get 4 months free. You get also 4 months of Kevin coming around to your house every night, singing to you, singing a lovely lullaby, going to sleep. Or you might get one of the Healy Rays coming around, giving you one of their flat caps, saying, vote for me, vote for me. But there you go. That's a private joke between me and Kev. Kev knows what I'm on. Let's call him.
Let's call him. He's got to kill us.
I am so dead. I am so dead. You're getting me killed, man. You're getting me killed.
Yeah. Would you like a tea, Father?
Yeah. Oh, go on. Right. We're supposed to be doing a really professional outfit show here. Yeah, if anyone is wondering why we're taking bits of column, it was mentioned in the Doyle today, the Irish Parliament, that a corrupt politician wanted to buy Doncaster Rovers.
Yeah, I would have actually paid good money to see that particular individual owning Danny.
I would have.
You know, the Glazers tried to call him demented, but this man would probably send him to the moon.
This man makes the Glazers look like saints.
Here, the saint. The Glazers are just numpties that are absolutely clueless about their jobs. This lad is a professional shithouser.
But anyway, quickly moving on. The referee called the goal off for no go for handball, but Haaland was checked and came confirmed by VAR with no conclusion evidence overturned on the field. Do you think that was a good decision by VAR last night? They weren't sure. They just went, do you know what? We can't be 100% sure. We're going to chalk the goal off. Do you think that was the right decision by VAR? Or do you think Haaland was a little bit hard done by?
Well,
I think it was the right decision personally, but
I was looking at the stills and it kind of makes me wonder about the setting up of where the cameras for the VAR are in the ground, at what height and what trajectory they're positioned, whether they're overhead, whether they're to the side, what angle do they show? Because you could be forgiven for thinking at one point that the ball is actually nestled between a Tottenham forearm and Mr. Haaland's forearm. So at that point then, you're looking at a possible double handball. So what way do you shake the leg on it? And I suppose the letter of the law is a goal can't be scored through a handball.
Yeah.
So
no,
it had to be chalked off, but it does make me wonder. And again, that's probably another show on VAR too about the consistencies of where these VAR cameras are positioned, because you need to see where the angle is most prevalent. Because I think in the rugby they say you have to have clear and obvious error, and there has to be some evidence to overrule the on-field decision. Neil is saying that it struck Haaland in the bicep first, and you know, if the cameras definitely could paint that picture, then you're away in a hack. But what drives me utterly batty about VAR, and not so much now last night because it was a handball that needed to be got right, is when they're lining up a clear view and they're spending 4 and 5 minutes trying to figure out an offside. And you kind of say, lads, what are we doing here? We're slowing down the play, and you're going in maybe at 100 or 1000x zoom to find out where Dermot's pinky nail is. So for me, that is crazy. But I think
it is crazy. It is crazy. I mean, look, Neil says Kevin before it struck Haaland before that it struck Haaland in the bicep first, so which it did. David makes a good point. Proves there's not enough VAR cameras in the ground. That's another good point as well, actually. And then Neil says that the initial contact was with his upper arm, started the whole thing. Look, I think VAR made the right decision. If you can't 100% if you can't be 100% sure it's a goal or not goal, then don't give it. There we go. Big up to the Full-Time Sports Network, and also please big up to the Play Pouch as well, our gaming channel, now including myself and Colin. Get over there. Please do. It really helps. It really is Tequila and Pete's channel over there. It would mean a lot to us. Look, just get over there. For the love of tequila, get over there and smash that subscription button. And when you hit the subscribe button, say, we love tequila. And also hashtag trophy for tequila as well. So he says, big up Rebel for helping Dermo out on the channel. Thanks, mate. Well, he is joining us. You know, we quickly got in a loan deal. It is going to be a permanent deal, but we'll just have to work out the specifics in the summer. But it is a loan to buy with an obligation. And then Neil says, the only thing about that, Kevin, we don't have the same camera angles that VAR has. I want to see next year VAR like they did in the League Cup semi-finals, and now in the stadium why they come to that decision. Or the internet's really playing up tonight. I don't know if it's what's happening.
What I'd love to see, Dermo, is, do you know when you're watching the rugby decisions, you're seeing the same angles as what the referees are seeing and what the VAR is seeing. If, as Neil has said, that Stockley Park have different angles that they're viewing, I would like to see those angles shown in the live broadcast, if it's appropriate. If it's on television, we should be seeing the same stuff that they're seeing. Have we lost Dermo?
Yeah. You're a little bit choppy. You were better last night where you were, Kev, with your internet. Yeah, you're a little bit better where you were last night with your internet connection. You're a little bit choppy tonight, I have to say.
I was wondering, was it your side? Because I was looking at you and you were kind of a bit choppy as well.
No, mine's plugged into the internet. It's all gone quiet at the house. It's all gone very quiet.
Not a creature of story, not even a mouse.
Yeah. Oh, it could be just a StreamYard thing. I don't know. It's very choppy. No, I don't know why. Okay, I log in and log out again then. If you can take... All right, yeah. I am having problems. Right, okay. You need to take over, Colin, for a minute. I need to log out. I might have it. It's my side. So I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, welcome to Wayne's World. Wayne's World, party on. Excellent. Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties, folks. Hopefully you're still hearing us all loud and clear. But I'm going to move on to what is Dermot's last topic, just while we're waiting, because I want to get a few comments going in the chat. So it was revealed in some of the papers today that the prospective suitors for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are coming from the US of A. Now, as we all know, clubs that have had American ownership have had varying levels of success. It took Liverpool 2 goes with Americans to find a proper owner. Manchester United obviously has the Glazers, which has been an absolute poison on the club. We've had Todd Bowley arrive at Chelsea Football Club, who's spending money like it's going out of fashion, but doesn't seem to have any clear and concrete vision for the way the club wants to operate. We had Arsenal, who had the Cronkies, and as we know, Cronky Senior had absolutely no interest whatsoever in Arsenal Football Club's development and what they wanted to do for the fan base. But it was only that his son came on board and said, look, I want to have a go at running this football club, that he was able to kind of partially give the Arsenal fan base what they wanted. But to those of you that are in the chat now, how would you feel if another Glazer-esque type family got their dirty mitts on Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and basically took over the operations? Would you see it as a positive, like going into the great unknown, or would you see it as a negative in that the devil that you know in Mr. Levy is better than the unknown devil? So let us know what you think about those. Dermot, we were just going to get your views about the potential following the sale of Manchester United Football Club of the Glazer family, or somebody like coming into Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Look, just start again because I've just come back in. So, what is it that are we talking about? The Tottenham sale or the Man United sale?
We're talking about the Tottenham sale, and basically, I went through the different clubs in the English Premier League that have USA influence on them.
Yeah.
And how more often than not, they have been a negative in terms of the way that they have impacted their clubs. It took Liverpool 2 goals with Americans to get a decent running outfit, because if you remember correctly, their first pair were absolute shysters. Obviously, we all know about the history of the Glazers. We're looking at Todd Bowley, who's spending money like a Teletubby that doesn't know what he's doing. And I think ultimately he's going to start doing the same thing as the Glazers, because he's embargoed from taking any money out of the club at the moment. Kroenke Sr. was a disaster for Arsenal before his son took over. So if you have somebody like that coming in to Tottenham Hotspur, some investment firm or some other sort of crazy, nutty kind of situation, would you be fearful for the club?
Oh, yeah, big time. I would be very fearful. I'm trying to find the... there we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, I would be very fearful. I don't want any Tom, Dick and Harry coming in and buying our club. I really don't. I want the person to come in that's going to have the best interest and heart. Now, I had a few questions here tonight. And look, we're going to spread this over a couple of shows, by the way, guys. We're doing the next one on Sunday because I really want to go in depth in this. And with Kevin working in the financial world as well, we've got no better person to talk about this because time's a bit constrained tonight. But if you look at the likes of Ivan Scholar and Alan Sugar back in the day when they owned Tottenham, and maybe David can help me out here because he's been a fan as long as I have. There's a lot of fans that have only known just Levy. The likes of Tequila have only known Levy, and a lot of people just know them. I wouldn't trust an American owner if you told me you can have one for free. I don't want an American owner anywhere near my football club. Now, on the flip side of that, we're linked in with the NFL. It's going to be sort of probably a logical progression that an American owner will buy Tottenham because of the NFL, because of that structure and that partnership we have with American football. So it probably will go that way. But if you go back through Tottenham history and you look at the times that we've nearly, on the times under Ivan Scholar when he did business, he tried to run businesses through Tottenham Hotspur and nearly put us extinct. And we nearly did go bust. And if it wasn't for Alan Sugar coming in with Terry Venables to save the football club and put us on the market to where we are now. And Alan Sugar did lay the foundations of what type of football club we were going to become back in the 90s, because he did lead it as a business first type football club. Ivan Scholar was the first person to take us to the stock exchange back in the 80s. Which was no other club had done that. And I think Man United followed shortly afterwards, I think, didn't they, as well, to go on the stock exchange as well. So all I want, whoever comes in, I want them to back a manager and support our football club. I don't give a shit about the boxing that's coming on, the Conor Ben, Chris Eubank fun. I don't give a shit about that. Yeah, I love boxing. I'll watch it. I'll probably do a watch along to it. Me and Rebel probably will do a watch along to that fight, because that's a fight we remember as kids watching their fathers duke it out back in the 90s. Ben Eubank, Steve Collins ran that time, Michael Watson, that sort of group of British middleweights. That was like, we had the best middleweights in the world. I think at that time Steve Collins was the best out of a lot of them. I'm not being biased, but he was. Totally freaked Eubank out, saying he was being hypnotized. I still find that there's a documentary about that actually years later. I watched it the other night and I'm still giggling that he got him, like he completely fooled him into thinking he was hypnotized. Yeah, he was. He was.
Like,
but yeah, go on.
I was just thinking Eubank Senior was running out of military. He wanted to call off the fight at the weigh-in, if I remember correctly, because he was so freaked out by him. But you mentioned about the Alan Sugar era, and I just want to briefly hit you with this. First year that Alan Sugar owned the club, Tottenham, 15th.
Yeah.
Second year that Alan Sugar owned the club was 93, 94, and of course that's not there. But like, I don't think you could say that the 90s are remembered for anything absolutely fantastic for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. They were in the shadow of Arsenal in terms of the London clubs. They were in the shadow of Manchester United. They were in the shadow of Newcastle. They then became in the shadow of Chelsea. And not to be inciting violence in the chat, but they have been the poor cousin in the London family for a long, long time. And considering that arguably amongst all the clubs in London, they now have the best football stadium. They now have the keys to basically building a successful football operation. It's about time that somebody that isn't completely mandated towards profit, because I think you will have the prices of those seats that are going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, look. These are the seats for the Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight now. And this is what pisses me off. All this money will not go to Tottenham. Only that they buy I think it's refreshments, and they get a cut out of it, I think, because of the rent of the stadium. But that's it. Now, these are the cheapest seats for this fight, right? It's 500 euro, 500 quid, right? Roughly. Seat Unique Club, that's £1,000. You then go up to, that's the same thing, but then you go up then to a Tunnel Club, which is 1,700, and then the private box, which is up the top level, which is 1,500. Just to watch a night of boxing. But why isn't this money going back within the club? Why this is going into Daniel Levy's and Joe Lewis's hip pocket? This is not going back into the club. We're not. This is what gets me. We're not a media sporting event company. We're a football club. We are a football club. Has everyone seemed to forget at Tottenham what our functional mentality is? That is football, not boxing, not seeing Beyonce shaking the tush around on the stage, though. I'm not saying anything against Beyonce. I'm leaving it there before I get myself into any trouble. Taylor Swift, got nothing against Beyonce or Taylor Swift. If Donald Trump was going on the stage or whatever big thing, I wouldn't go. But Taylor Swift and Beyonce, no. Very good artists, great singers. You've got the go-kart. I got no problem like with the go-kart and the skywalk or the stadium tours. I'm doing the stadium tour when I go over in May for the Palace game. I'm going to do a stadium tour. And I got no problem with that. But the other stuff, the concerts, the boxing, put that back into the football club. That is damn you, Tequila. Damn you.
Shake that thing, please. I want to shake that thing.
Yeah. I'm just angry. I'm really angry. I mean, look, I've got a question here.
Go on.
And it really is. I mean, you look at the financial landscape of the 1980s and you look at the financial landscape now. How did the financial landscape of the English football in the 1980s contribute to Tottenham's crisis? But if there was a world recession now, with all the tariffs that are going around, that Trump's throwing around at every European country at the moment, he's chucked a 25% tariff against the EU and any goods coming out of the EU. That includes Ireland. Now, it does include England because England are not in the EU, so it doesn't affect them. How does that affect then the world of football? Because surely if there's a recession if there's a world recession, then surely football is part of that bubble, isn't it? I think the way I understand it is that every bit of an economy is little boiling houses, if you know what I mean. So say the construction industry overheats, that then will affect something else within the economy, and then it's a domino effect, doesn't it? When a recession happens,
Absolutely.
football will not be sort of it won't. How can I put it? I'm trying to find the word.
Football as an entity, Dermo, is akin to. Do you remember the Celtic Tiger era and property?
Yeah, I
and
do. Yeah,
houses here. I would equate where we are with football now as being
in the Celtic Tiger.
Being in the Celtic Tiger, because there's money being thrown at it, and it's very much following the American model of the NBA, of the NFL, where they're pretty much businesses with mega bucks being thrown at them. And here's the thing for me. If you remember, Ruud van Nistelrooy was 19 million pounds at the time that we signed him.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't get you the left shin of Haaland at this stage, who's probably the goal scorer of the modern era that everyone kind of first puts their hand on. But when I look at Tottenham, like no club had a lot of money in the early 90s. I think our big deals was 3 and 4 million back then. Which
Gaza was 2.5 million from Newcastle to Tottenham. That was our record signing, like.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're looking at the likes of Romelu Lukaku going around for 100 and something million. You had Solanke cost you 60, didn't he, or something, or like stupid like that. So the inflation of average players is gone crazy. Like, there was always a premium for the top, the cream at the top of the pint of milk. But now we're seeing the middle of the glass is catching market inflation. And it's just not sustainable because, as you know, everything is predicated on money coming into the league. So if all of a sudden nobody wants to replace the £1 billion deal at Sky and their cohorts are putting in for Premier League rights, what fills the void if that remains empty?
Yeah. So on that point, then, right? I don't mean to cut across you, but on that point, then, we all slag Levy off for doing what he's doing, but surely if say the bubble burst within football, wouldn't Tottenham be one of the best clubs to ride that out because they're financially the best secured within the Premier League?
Is Tottenham's capital assets all fully paid for at this
juncture? No, we've got loans against the stadium, but the loans are very much repayable. They're very much within the financial budget or the financial planning within the club. So if somebody was to come in, like a new owner, which we're hoping it will be, we're not in the same situation, say, as Manchester United, which I read the other day. I found out you're paying £1 billion a year on interest alone. Now, the loan that the Glazers took against you was 630 million, which is now gone up to 730 million. That's just the loan. But on the interest you're paying back on that loan, it's now reached £1 billion. So technically, you're £1 billion in debt. With Tottenham, they took a loan out with the Bank of England, and I think that the loan is stretched over 30 years at a very reasonable interest rate of paying back the loan every month. So it's a very much manageable within the financial portfolio and the financial constraints of what Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is. But if you look at the Glazers and the Manchester United deal, they've leveraged now. That's been banned in football now. That nobody can do what the Glazers did, and rightly so. But you're looking at you're $1 billion debt, and that's just the interest alone.
They paid $1 billion since the Glazers took over. They never marked down the debt, and that doesn't include what the Glazers took for themselves, which I think of the order of another $3 or $4 billion.
So in hindsight, I mean, I want to go through some of the David Clarkis makes a very good point, because I remember this. Now, Tottenham, I think, David, maybe you can prove me wrong, but I think I'm right on this. They were $8 million in debt with the Midland Bank back then. Now, $8 million doesn't seem a lot of money. In this day and age, it doesn't, but it was back then. It's a Scholar was a crook. Yeah, he was a crook. Money was being filtered through the clothes company, which was $20 million in debt, which nearly took Spurs to the dogs. Sugar did save Tottenham. And I've always said, people complain about Daniel Levy. Oh, they complained about Alan Sugar. We want Sugar out. Yes, we want Sugar out. But Alan Sugar saved our football club. We wouldn't be doing this channel if it wasn't for Alan Sugar. Terry Venables as well. As much there was a lot of allegations against Terry Venables of his dodgy dealings, nothing was ever proven. I don't think he was ever found guilty in the court of law of any dodgy dealings. I think there was always a lot of allegations, shall we say. But he did save the football club as well, so he deserves just as much credit as Alan Sugar does. You look at where we were back then. We look where we are now. Enoch and Levy have brought Tottenham to another level, but they've seemed to have forgotten the football part. So this is like sort of big question, really, on Alan Sugar before we move on to the final little bit of the show, and we talk a little bit more about. We're going to talk a little bit about the takeover, and we're going to get Kev to sort of give you a sort of very brief description of what the Premier League will be looking at, the new owners at Tottenham Hotspur. And this question goes for you guys in the chat as well. How is Alan Sugar's time at Tottenham owner viewed today? Was he a saviour or was he an obstacle to progress? I would say he's a saviour. What would you think, Kev? When you look at Tottenham now, Levy did come in within Alan Sugar to buy some shares when he bought. They took a minority stake in Spurs back in '91, so they were there at the start of it. But do you think Alan Sugar deserves the hate he gets from some Tottenham fans? Or do you think, was he a saviour or was he an obstacle to progress Tottenham?
Well, I suppose when you look at the team that he had when he finished his stint with you, Gustavo Poyet, Christian Ziggy, Sergio Roboth, Merce, Ledley King, Teddy, like you had Les Ferdinand. There's quite a spattering of high-class players in that team. So you can't say that he neglected you. And there's a lot of positives in terms of what he left you as, I suppose, for the next manager or the next owner to kind of kick forward. And if he hadn't taken you over, as I think it was Dave said earlier on, chances are that maybe Tottenham may not even be in the Premier League right now, because they might have fallen a cropper to whatever financial institution has had control of that debt. Yeah. So I don't think you can say that he was a bad thing for Tottenham. I don't know if he got into Tottenham for the right reasons, and nobody will ever know because none of us can read the mind of Alan Sugar. Like, he was very much a fan of the limelight, as we saw from his stint on The Apprentice afterwards. So, like, Tottenham is not a club that has been, I suppose, financially destroyed. We look at Leeds and what happened to them under the Dave O'Leary era.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Spend, and let's call a spade here. They got absolutely destroyed in the end. by the club. So I would say Tottenham are in a great position now. I know you have your attractions and your Ferris wheels on your pitch and whatnot,
Yeah.
but in the modern game, all those things are essential. Being able to host that NFL game every year, that's money in the bank for Tottenham Hotspur. To kind of say that Tottenham isn't equipped to kind of push forward would be naive. Now, it's all about who those owners are. Now, Keela doesn't mention the Enoch Group, which is the English National Investment Company, the family trust of Joe Lewis.
Yeah. Would you take them as owners at Manchester United?
I'll be honest with you, I will have to dig deeper into, I suppose, their history, what kind of business dealings they've been doing.
They're an investment company. That's what they are.
Well,
I mean,
if they're an investment company, they're not in it for the right reasons. They're in it for profit.
But they said it when they took Tottenham over. We're not here. We're not in it to win things. We're in it here to make money. That was the first thing they said when they took the club over. Look, Joe Lewis is at the moment 89 or 88 or 89, shuffling around in his boat somewhere in the Bahamas. Doesn't know which day of the week it is. Shares been put into a trust. You got Daniel Levy. So this brings me on then to the second sort of part of what do we have to look forward to? We know a takeover is happening. We know it will happen. We don't know. I have an idea who it might be, but I can't say because I'm not allowed to. But I have a fair idea. I think I told you, didn't I, who it might be?
Yeah.
We can put it down to a couple of trees. We can put it down to either Qataris, which is not the same Qatari that wanted to buy Manchester United. He does not want to buy Tottenham. He wants to buy Man United. It could be an American billionaire, which it did break yesterday that there was talks between Levy and an American group. Again, this channel was first out with the news. Even before they hit the headlines, we told them a takeover was happening. Or there could be a South Asian billionaire or somebody like that. Now, the question I got for you is, Kev, which way will it work? Will they buy Levy shares out and just buy the football club and then do the rest of the club as a phase? Do it phase A, B, C, D, or E? Did they then buy, did I buy Levy shares, buy the football club out, but keep Levy there as an advisory role, which I've been told that is what's going to happen. Who do you think will take Spurs over? It's probably the last question because I know you're very time constraints and we're nearly at time we have to come off. But do you think it's not going to be the Qatari who wants to buy Man United? That's not going to happen. We know that. You and me both know that because we know he wants one club or one club only, and that's Man United, and that will happen. We both know that as well. So, who do you think this Amanda Staveley with her little consortium? Do you think that's the way it's going forward? I think that's who's going to buy Spurs out in the end and buy the football club, and then do you think it will be a phased buyout then with the rest of the club eventually?
Here's the thing with the phased buyouts, and I'm going to put a big health warning on it. We see what's happening at Manchester United at the moment, where we've got the young apprentice in Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos group, and we've got the rat-faced weasels that is the Glazers.
Yeah.
And if it's a phased buyout, you're going to have reluctance to do certain things within the structures of the club. Now, thankfully, you're not laboured with a massive debt that you can't sustain. But the problem with that is if there isn't kind of an agreement between Dermot and Kevin, just to use the example, on spending whatever, then chances are that decisions that you want made get delayed, don't get put in the long finger. And I would be very worried about partial takeovers where you slowly snip away at the whole thing. Now, from what I'm reading here, there was a 3.1 billion bid on Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in the not too distant past, which was slapped away. Now, that was a substantive 100% kind of off you go now bid. 3.1 billion, when you think about the size of the club, is probably in around market value. I know you don't.
He wants 3.5. He wants 3.5 billion. That's what he wants. That's what it will go for. It will go for around 3.5 billion, just for the football side alone.
What I would kind of have concern with Arabian ownership is that we're seeing a bit of a pushback from Premier League. We're seeing that they've been trying to take on City, and my concern is if more of these owners come in, despite what they might do for our clubs in a positive sense, is that the Premier League will start getting an itch. We'll start rebelling against them. We'll start trying to make life difficult for them. And they'll take their ball and they'll say, do you know what now? Manchester United is owned by us. Newcastle United is owned by us. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is owned by us. The Americans will fall into line because they like money. And they will irreparably change the game that we know and love, because they'll take their ball, they'll take their European clubs, and they'll go off on their own, and there'll be not a damn thing that the Premier League or UEFA or any of these people will be able to do about it, barring them from international football. And at this point, do the majority of young players give a damn about playing for their country? I'm not too sure that they do. But Tottenham Hotspur is at a critical point in its journey, because there's other clubs that are going to get more investment. David actually alludes, I think it was David said about Paris, no, it was Neil that said about Paris Saint-Germain. They went out of the French league because, let's face it, the French league is a dead league outside of Paris.
It is.
And they want to be in on the Premier League. So if they go by all of a sudden, they have the ability to make a one-time cash transaction to buy out any, and I mean any club in the Premier League. And there's nobody going to come up against them. But
it's going to be interesting. I think that this show we'll continue this on Sunday, if that's all right with you, Kev. We will do, because I know you have to be off by a certain time, and I'm very conscious of that. I broke what I broke at the start of the week, and it's true. It's going to happen. A takeover will happen. It's about waiting for the right time. I think also, well, I've been told as well that the naming rights are involved in that. So read into that what you will. Read into that what you will on that. Kev, again, great, absolutely fantastic joining me tonight. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoy your conversation and what you have to say. I just wish we had more time, but I know Sunday we'll be back on together again. You can see a lot more Kevin on this channel now. 3 or 4 times a week. He's going to be joining me for watch-alongs. He's joining me for a lot of the stuff as well. While Tequila fights the good fight. Everyone, do please wish Tequila well in the chat. Send him his love. Please check in him as well. He's a great. I know we're going to do something with Tequila in the near future. I'm going to speak to Colin and probably Kevin and a few guys about it to organize a little show for Tequila. I'm waiting to hear back also from Tottenham Hotspur. I've been in contact with them. Also Mickey Hazard as well, to do a little something for Tequila. So I'm waiting and come back for that. I'm sure Kevin will probably, if he knows anybody at Man United, will probably link in with them and try to do something for Tequila that way as well. And also, I just wanted these two part, and just very quick question here, Kev, to end it off. David says, a crucial part of Vane takeover is written in Joe Lewis's family trust regarding his shares and who they're left to. I don't see them shares being handed over to Levy. I think they're being left to the daughter, but I think what's going to happen, maybe Kev might shoot me down in flames for this. This is how I see it happening. Come in, buy Levy out. I think that's what they're going to do. That's the first port of all, buy the football club side of it. And then I think over the next 2 to 3 years, they will start buying out ENIC shares bit by bit by bit. So they make ENIC a minority shareholder. and then eventually they will own the whole club. Do you see very quickly? Do you think that's the way it will happen?
Well, it's very difficult to preface how any I suppose beneficiary of an inheritance is going to want to deal with their inheritance. Like if Joe Lewis is leaving it to the daughter, as we'd say, as you gave in the example, if she has an interest in continuing to garner money from it, you could see the brakes maybe put on the minority shareholder getting a hold of the rest of it very quickly. And I'd imagine anybody that does try to buy Levy's element of the shares is going to want to know what the intentions of the bigger party is in order to, I suppose, inform them of what exactly they're going to be prepared to, I suppose, do as part of the partnership, because it's going to change the dynamic of the company.
Yeah.
And I suppose it depends on just how quickly that person that inherits is going to want to cash out, whether or not they do it before the inheritance is even completed. It could be the money that's generated from the sale of those shares.
Yeah.
It's all up in the air. Like you really have to kind of watch things as they develop. This is very early days. When we were at this stage with Manchester United over 12 months ago, at this stage, it was very much guesswork. There was rumors of Saudis, there was rumors of Americans, there was rumors of them getting hedge funds to come in to bail them out. You're going to hear every Tom, Dick, and Harry give their opinion on the who, the why, and the what, and the where of what's going to happen with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And the reality is, we won't know the truth really until 24 hours before things really start to get close to fruition.
Yeah. Well, for what I've been told, and I trust the person who told me, and I will stand by what I broke during the week, it is complicated. And it's an NES type, it's an NES type takeover, so it is complicated. But I was told it will happen. A takeover will happen. Now, it could be, I know also the first draft has already been written up as well. So the first draft's been done. So that then goes to Rothschilds, I think, if I'm right. And then Rothschilds then goes back, look, these are the changes that have to be made. We know any takeover isn't easy, but all we know is Levy time's end is near. And maybe it's going to be a bit easier because Tottenham's a bit more of a suitable takeover than Manchester United are. But that's for the Sunday show, because I want to dive into the Man United side as well. I want to dive into the Premier League as a whole. And maybe on Sunday we can discuss the rules around ownership as well. And maybe see, because somebody said to me the other day, and it makes a very good point, that taking over a club is 1 point, but there's only 6 clubs that can win a trophy. 5 clubs can win a trophy every season. And you're looking at Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, probably them 3 alone could win everything. Then you got Chelsea, you got other clubs. So do the Premier League rules need to change? We will talk about that on Sunday. But Kev, where can people find you, sir? And thank you again for coming on. I'm enjoying these shows with you, man. I really am. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, it's Kerry_Rebel. Obviously here now on the Tottenham Hotspur Till I Die channel, and hopefully once myself and Colin get our heads together, we'll be doing some partnerships with Spotlight and UFC. But I just want to show a little something just to preview what is coming down the line. This little handbook right here has a lot of information on Premier League owners charter, etc., etc. So
yeah,
we might be doing a bit of homework later, Dermo.
Yeah, just send it all to me and I'll be doing my homework tomorrow. But listen, guys, thank you all for watching. It's been a great show as well. Look, Spurs did win 1-0, but we got 8 days off. So we've got 8 days of scratching our heads trying to think what to do now. But there you go. We've got the start of it. We're going to talk about finances and money and takeovers and Daniel Levy and what shampoo he uses to wash his bald head with. Is he the love? I mean, the one show's going to be called this Daniel Levy, the love child of Telly Savalas. Could be.
Here's looking
Could
at
be
you,
also.
kid.
Yeah, he could also could be the love child of Blofeld out the Bond films. We just don't know.
Or one of Phil Mitchell's long lost brothers.
Yeah. See, even Tequila, we still don't know. Tequila could be Daniel Levy for all we know. I think it. Yeah, we don't know. He is and always will be the Tottenham stick. You know, just saying it. Some say some say he's got a tank in his living room, ready to burst out like James Bond did. Some also say that he is James Bond, and he's ready to go. He's ready to go and see Miss Moneypenny to take her out on a date. All we know he's called Tottenham Stick.
And some say he's a grub sympathizer.
Yeah. Don't know what that means or what you said, but I'm just
Gears of War.
Oh, Gears of... Oh, yeah. His Tequila says shaken, not stirred. On that bombshell, he says, big up, Kevin Dermot. Big up to you, Tequila. Listen, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Do hit the like button. Do hit the subscription button as well. Here on THFC Till I Die, on the Full Time Sports Network. Follow us on X as well. Hit that follow button as well. You guys over in X World, do hit a follow and a like over there. Also, follow MUFC Spotlight as well. The links are all in there. Hit the description for our channel sponsor, Private Internet Access, your only place to get the best VPN around. And we will see you on... I'm back Saturday with a solo stream talking some shite. And then we're back Sunday with a sensible man. And maybe me and Colin might actually do a show tomorrow or Saturday. Who knows? But Sunday, we've got the sensible men back. Colin and Kev will be back. But me, I'm just a gobshite from Wexford talking shite. But who cares? Anyway, on that bombshell, I'm going to have my bacon and tomatoes. Come on, you buddy. Let's get a cup of tea and a pint of Guinness. Come on, you Spurs. See Kevin there thinking, I have landed myself in the loony bin here. This fella's fucking nuts.
No comment. I think the fifth.
Yeah, I will finish with a traditional tequila sound out. Sorry, tequila. Cois. Is who we are, mate. Come on, you.
Eyes on the prize.